So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with my colleagues and friends, and also the guests they are hosting me. Today, I'll be talking partly about my MA thesis, which is about the archaeological site of Aqar Quf, a very important capital, archaeological perspective speaking, not very well known for the archaeological community. We don't know why, but that was the whole point of writing my MA about this site to make it more known for the archaeological community. So we will be talking about the excavation that happened in the city of Agargov Dur-Kurigalzu, which started in the 40s. And we will talk about the most important spot that had been chosen to be excavated in. So what will we talk about? First of all, of course, we will talk about the excavation that took place in the 40s by the one of the famous Iraqi archaeologists, Taha Bakr, who was at some point the chairman of the SPAH, like the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage in Iraq. A very well-educated man, a very smart guy who was very interested in excavating and documenting, and his documentation methods was one of the best documentation methods that could be also depend on in our modern days. Briefly talking about Taha Bakr, he's born in Babylon, he's from Babylon, and he moved to Baghdad. Then he started his job as an archaeologist, and then he became the chairman, and he excavated many sites around the whole country. And that's why they called him the clay reader or the mud reader at the end. And he had a statue also at the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage in Iraq. So we will talk about that because it's very well documented and very scientific way of excavation. And then we will talk about the zikrat, which is the highest and the most obvious monument in the whole archaeological city. And then the temple area, which was excavated and also renovated. The Palace of Tel Abyad, the palace area of the zikr of the archaeological site of Dur-Kurigalzu, which is in the bit to the north of the site. And then the later excavation, which happened in the 60s and the 70s in the temple area. And then the one of two sites that they were basically hidden or no one knows about them until we managed to get an access to the archive and photograph department because most of the report that I have now in my in my thesis are just report have been written since 60, 70, 50 years ago. Like daily live reports from the excavations with the handwriting, and they were just like written and preserved and put in the archive department for more than 60 years. Good for us that this report had been scanned and like digitalized, and we have them now. So my job technically was to get an access to the archive department and to get to put hands on this report and to translate them from the Iraqi dialect to basic Arabic to English, and then to make it like open access for the rest of the archaeological community. So Tel Ahmar and Tel Mound 1, this also we will talk about. This will be chapter 3. Yeah, exactly. Chapter 4 will be about Tel Abu Shija, which is also like a very important site, have been excavated by the Iraqis, but like I would say we know only 20% about it. So that was also like a task for me to get the report and the excavation report and the plans for the site so we can know more about it. Tel Abu Shija is a very important site. And then, as I said, the archaeological park of Aqar Quf. So, what is the Dur-Kurigalzu? What is Dur-Kurigalzu? So, the location of the city is in Baghdad, as you can see in the central Iraq. Aqar Quf or Dur-Kurigalzu is located in Baghdad in Fallujah Road, about 50 kilometers west of Baghdad. 6 kilometers south of the road, about 15 kilometers northwest of Abu Ghraib area. Is so Baghdad here, Abu Ghraib is actually here. The height of the ziggurat, you can see it actually from the highway that goes from Baghdad to Fallujah. It was like the ziggurat is like 46 to 50-meter height, which is also like it loses, I don't know, 4 centimeter yearly because of the rain and everything, you know that. Can be seen from distance. Some people they compare it to a pyramid or something. And the ziggurat is made mainly from the mud brick, as most of the ziggurat in Mesopotamia, rectangular mud bricks with no hollow interior, like it's just a solid mass. The ziggurat and the site were major destinations for many pilgrims, some of whom mistook it with the Tower of Babylon. Even the local people now they are talking about the Tower of Dur-Kurigalzu or the ziggurat as the Tower of Babylon, which is wrong, of course. Uh, in the 18th century, many Arab and foreigner explored, surveyed the site, and that's when the people started to be interested about it. The most early excavations happened in the 40s, but was most of them like for 5 seasons or something. Yeah, exactly. And then we will talk about the location. We talked about the location of Aqar Quf, and now we will talk about the historical uh, significance of Aqar Quf and who are the Kassai. So the Kassai basically are people who were living in the north part of Mesopotamia and in the Zagros mountain, which is in like in over here in Sulamania, like this uh, Kurdish region part. And they had like continuous conflicts with the Babylonian in the central Mesopotamia, and then they decided at some point to attack Babylon and to rule Babylon. So during all this, the Kassite period went through 3 stages. We will explain now. So the first stage is where uh, dynasty of Gandash, the king of the Baba Lam province in Zagros mountain. So here in Zagros mountain, the king Gandash of Baba Lam launched attack on Babylon under the rule of King Samsu Iluna in 712 AD, and he was defeated. So after that, the Kassite also tried to reunite it again and to recharge their power again. And that's when the second period of the Kassite started. For the subsequent period, the Kassite directed their attention toward the kingdom of Qutr al-Bahri and then engaged in enormous conflicts with its, and then advanced toward to An. So they started to attack the area here, and then they actually stationed here in Ana area. It's in Anbar, one of the biggest governorates in the country. And then the third period when then the Kassai decided this is it. Now we are very close to Babylon. We will attack Babylon after that. And they did, and they managed to control Babylon. And at the beginning, they uh, took Babylon as their capital. And then Kurigalzu the first, uh, the Kassite king, he decided that he wants his own capital. And that's when they moved to Abu Ghraib, when they built their new city, Dur-Kurigalzu, which is named after the king. The city of Dur-Kurigalzu, as you can see in the map, is in rectangular shape, as you can see in this map. It's starting from the temple area, and then the ziggurat, and then the palaces area, and then all this residential area and the canal cutting the city into like almost to half. And then we have here like Tel Ahmar and Tel Mount One. Tel Abu Shijar is here, which is also it's a bit like outside the city line, but still belong to the city. So the city area, this is located in shape, as we said, shape was rectangular. Kurigalzu was a very smart guy. So actually, like he used or he chose the highest ground in the district of Abu Ghraib to build his city. So, and that was for like economical and political reasons. Because first of all, the site or the city, the location of the city is very, very important economically. It's on the trade road, like that and everything. And you have to go through it from the north to the south and from the south to the north. And also the area is a bit higher than the rest. So, and usually back in the days, we didn't have that many dams and everything to control the water in Tigris and Euphrates. So he used that as a PowerPoint. So technically, the city was protected most of the time by the but flood water of Euphrates, because as we said, it was not controlled. The river was not controlled, and technically the city was surrounded from from three sides by the flood water. So like he didn't need to do anything. It was just protected by the flood water from three sides, and one side only uh, was open, which he controlled, and he also used it to bring the water and the canal from the Ifrat to the city. So this is, as you can see, this is the shape of the city. It's a rectangular shape. And in this map, you can see the parts where the excavations happened, the Iraqi excavation and the modern excavation that's taking place right now, and the ziggurat and the temple area. So this is the topography of the city. And now we will go through the chapters of this presentation, which is the chapter one. We will talk about the excavation that happened at the 40 by Taha Bakr and Mr. Sitol Weed, which was also his advisor, and it was I don't know, the vice of Taha Bakr or something. So first we will talk about the excavations that happened in the 40 by Taha Bakr and the early excavations. It has happened until in Zakarat and Tel Abyad and the Khalas Italy. First, we will talk about excavations that happened in the Zakarat. This excavation started in in the 40s, 900, 942 in May actually. The State Board of Antiquities and Heritage decided to carry out an excavation at the ancient site of Aqar Quf, where the ruined ziggurat stand as visible landmark. About 20 miles west of Baghdad, for that of the ziggurat are easily found, and the remains of the three staircases were also exposed and were found leading to the top of the hill. These staircases are similar to the calcite ziggurat of course. So it's normal. I mean, this is not very unique information, as we all know. Like all the ziggurat in Mesopotamia, 90% I say they are the same. They are built the same. They are the material the same, designed at the same, and they are all solid and not hollow. So because some archaeologists were coming like even until like recent days, I don't know, until 2 years or something, they were trying to do some sounding in the like in the core of the ziggurat to see if there is something about it. So yeah, as Bakr is explaining here, it's a solid, it's a solid building or mass made out of mud brick, and it's very similar to the ziggurat of Ur, like three staircases, two from side, one from the middle, leads to the ziggurat, which is like back in the days was basically I think 4 layer, like the first layer, the first roof, the second roof, the third roof, and then the temple. Now we have only one layer, which was we renovated, and we have only the like the core. So this is the only layer left, and this is the core of the zikr. The site was chosen not only for its archaeological importance, that is very important, but it's also for particular reasons, such as it's approximately really close to Baghdad, which is uh, very important because that's also one of the points that's Bologna University is focusing on right now. Because the site, if it's really well renovated and well preserved, will be a very, very nice archaeological park for the people of Baghdad because Baghdad is a very big city. It has like more than 8 million inhabitants, and they don't have an archaeological park actually. So that's why the Iraqis chose to excavate and rebuild or renovate this ziggurat and the temple and to make the archaeological park, and that's why also was a marketing from Bologna doing the same now because it's a very close area to Baghdad, and as we said, Baghdadis people they don't have such a place in Baghdad, so this is the closest to them. So the excavations also served as an educational opportunity for visitors and locals to see the ongoing archaeological work. Regarding this, we are focusing really a lot on this because excavation is not like it's not only like a scientific process. I think it's also an educational one because especially in the area of Abu Ghraib. Area of Abu Ghraib we call it the belt of Baghdad. Like there are this area around Baghdad, like Abu Ghraib, Darmiya, uh, Dora. These areas, like around Baghdad in the outer line of Baghdad, they are not very well taken care of. They are not. They were not safe 100% back in the days, and also the local people they really suffered a lot during the ISIS period or whatever, and also during the local conflicts. So one of the reasons that we are doing this right now, one of the reasons that we are trying to bring people's attention to this site is first to excavate the site scientifically and to document what we have, and second, we also need to educate people about the site, and that's really important because I think most of you knows that almost all the sites, yeah, I don't know, 80, 70% of them in Iraq have been looted. Uh, if it's not in the 80s, it's in the 90s. If it's not in the 90s, it's after 2000. If it's not, it's in 2006. Like these are all like either wartime or local conflict times that were there were lack of safety, lack of law and order, lack of protection for the archaeological sites, and people really didn't care about the sites. Sorry to say that, but it was I mean, as I said, it was either local lack of local conflicts or wartime. So I mean, people would just care about their safety. So most of the sites got looted in these times. I said 80s, 90s, 2000, 2006. I would say until 2012, something like that. Yeah, they established the archaeological police department, which we didn't have back in the days. And now, yeah, now that I can say we have no looting now, except like for just like separated incident that could happen. But they are not similar at all to what we had back in the days because like we can we can take many examples. For example, the archaeological city of Shuruppak. My German colleagues knows about it, or the city of Gießen. These were heavily looted sites. I mean, people actually, looters lived there. Like they had their tents, they had their food, they lived there for months. They were eating, sleeping, and looting. daily, and that's looting. But what we have now, and which I hope that we won't even have in the upcoming years or whatever, we just have like separated incidents. For example, now what we have in Dur-Kurigalzu, like we are excavating in Dur-Kurigalzu, and after the excavation, logically we are covering everything, and then we are coming like 3 or 4 months after as a visit, and we found that the cover had been removed, or the sandbag that we put there to keep the cover had been removed. But there are no looting. Some of them, like some locals, are talking about finding some like small jars or whatever, and that's not looting. That's the most important. So what we are doing now, as Tagabakar is saying that we are excavating and we are also educating people, and that's very important, and that's what we are trying to do now again, because like if we actually like managed to get into like local people minds and to convince them that the archaeological site is very important for them and for their heritage and for their history, and it's actually for them. Like this is your history, this is your heritage, and you need to protect it because, and if you protect it, you will get the most benefit of it. Like if you have a scientific excavation and if you have like archaeological park, that archaeological project, it will get these parts of the country or these cities to economically benefits more. I think it's very, very much more benefit than you looting a site hoping to find, I don't know, a necklace or something. That is nothing. And it's not easy also to do that. So in order to get into people's mind and to tell them we are doing this and we are doing actually we're having right now, like while we are excavating into Dur-Kurigalzu, we have a cooperation with like international school which they are visiting us to the sites, and we are explaining to them why the sites are important and why they need to protect them, and how important is the story of the site. Like if like and you know each site has a story, and if you looted the site, you will lose the story. But if you excavated the site scientifically, you will get the story. So that's what Taha Baqub uh, reason of choosing this site, and that's why we are also excavating in this site. So the ziggurat, what was the first part, also had been chosen to excavate in Dur-Kurigalzu in the 40s, and as Taha Bakr said, and it's for educational reason and scientific reason, and uh, and also the site is very important to shed lights on a very very important period, the Mid-Babylonian period, which not a lot of people knows about it. So that's why we need to also focus on it. That was regarding the ziggurat. The second area that had been excavated by the Iraqis is the temple area, which is in the on the front of the ziggurat. It's also very, very important. So the temple excavations, it's near to the ziggurat, and on the southeast side was a focus on the entire second season. So the second season of the excavation was focused on the temple area. The challenging task was, that's what Parker is saying, it was primarily due to the extensive accumulation of late Kassite and Islamic debris above the ancient ruins. We have a really, very complicated stratigraphy there. Despite these obstacles, there are no question that the hard work paid off. Like after the excavation, after the complication that they had, they have result, as evidenced by the significant finding that they have there. The previously mentioned pavement at the base of the ziggurat step led us to the entrance of the Eugal temple. So they had the tablets, and these tablets were talking about the Eugal temple, which were built in the in Dur-Kurigalzu, and they couldn't find it at the beginning. And then they started to excavate in the at the front, actually, like at the front of the ziggurat. So As you can see, this is the ziggurat, and from here, you can see this is the like the main stairway to the ziggurat, and we have the second one from here and the third one from here. This is the main staircase of the ziggurat, and they excavated here, and they found the pavement, and they found the entrance, which was mentioned in the tablet of the Uyghur temple. And we found the entrance of the Uyghur temple directly facing the ziggurat. After a few days of excavations, a courtyard and several smaller rooms started to be exposed and uncovered. And among these rooms, we have room number one, of like there were a lot of room, and we have the other temples mentioned there, Isaac Dingani, constructed also by Dur-Kurigalzu, which was also dedicated to the god of Enlil. So after excavating for the first and second season in this area, the temple area, they started to find the temples, which were like multiple temples, but they are close to each other, they attached to each other. And at the end of the excavations, we have map of the temple area facing the ziggurat, and as a result, you can see now we are now able to provide a comprehensive list of the temples that have been partly excavated. So first we have Yugal temple dedicated by Kurikazu to Enlil, Igasan and Gal for Enlil, Isaac Dinger Ini for Ninruta, and Isaac Dinger Ini for Enlil. These are the temple area that were exposed, and now we are also working on part of it with Bologna University. This part, we will talk about that later. So, and one of the most important things that were also exposed during the excavations is the White Palace. Is one of the most impressive palaces that have been excavated and exposed by Taha Bakr. White Palace is the very, very big palace and the central city of Dur-Kurigalzu. As you can see, it's marked in the blue. This is the White Palace area. This is the ziggurat. This is the temple area. That's Abu Shijar site, and that's Mount One, and that's Al Ahmar. This is the White Palace. As you can see, it's I think it's the biggest area that have been excavated in this year. So it was excavated in the 40s also by Taha Bakr. The White Palace Hill is a series of vast hills, are well known among the local residents also, located on the northwest of the city center. These hills covered an area of approximately 420,000 square meters. The highest point of these hills reached about 7.5 meters. Excavations of this site started in October 43. The first theory suggested that it could be part of the city wall because they had big walls, and they thought it's the city wall at the beginning. While the second theory proposed that it might have been contained significant structures such as palaces or military posts. So when they excavated, they were confused actually about what they found because they had massive walls, and some of the team members were suggesting, okay, this is the city wall. They felt like the city ends here, and the others thought like, no, could be a very, very important area, and that's why like could be a palace area or a military bases. And that's why that's explained we have the massive wall. And so the excavation continued. The team initially encountered challenges and faced challenges in continuing the work also because they have a lack of manpower. And the workers actually were engaging the task at the small tempo. So because both of the projects were happening at the same time, like excavating the palaces area and also excavating the temple area. So poor Taha Bakr, he didn't have that many workers there, and most of his workers were taken to work in the temple area. So he was complaining about that actually in his report. So yeah, but he's trying to make it more like professional here by saying like we have lack of workers because some of them need to participate the work in temple area. So after completing the temple work, the team planned explored the area surrounding and the central mount in the White Hill. And also after the finishing of the work on the temple area, he said, I got my worker back. And then work was working, like was going very, very well. Uh, what we had and what did we discover in temple area? So palaces, that's the most important, as you can see now. Like we have full houses, like you can also, I don't know, consider it like a executive floor houses or something. Like we have floors here, we have benches, we have like also like an upper part, and we have these not storage houses. We have the painting, with the wall painting, which is very, very important. And we're trying to expose now also in the 2026, 2025, 2025. So now we're talking about this, the noted stores. What are these? So one of the hills on the northern part side has been excavated, believed to be the palace facilities of the Kassite king. Consists of three parallel vaults with multiple arches. They have arches and they have vaults. They go inside. Or storerooms in each side. So it was on both sides. These falls measure 2.25 meters in depth, 1.60 meter in height, and 2 meter in width. Situated in the southeast of the Chamber Tree, at the terminus of the southern portion of the White Hill. The purpose of these stores and this complicated structure is still unknown yet, and still challenging. Perhaps they were used as storage rooms. That's what they also thought about, but they are still not very sure. So two theories they have. It's like either they were storage rooms or vaults or whatever, or there were graves. But he said later time when they excavated the whole noted stores, he said we couldn't find any material remains of burials or human material remains or organic material remains. Definitely, they were not graves, but they are not sure about it yet. They could be storage houses, but I'm not sure. This was one of the most important discoveries in Tel Abyad, like the palaces in Tel Abyad. And then we have the painting, which we are also trying to expose now. And then we need to preserve them very fast if we expose them because now they will be affected immediately by the weather and everything. So they repainted actually this painting with the actual size of it, like during the excavation during Taha Baghr excavation. I didn't have the picture here, but I have it like in the files, and they brought like a big white sheet, measured the same of the wall, and they repainted the whole paint on the sheet, and they preserve it. And as I said, if we expose this, we have to preserve it immediately because I don't know the last or whatever. So yeah, that's regarding the White Palace. Chapter 2, we will talk about the excavations in the 60s and the 70s. What happened in the 60s and the 70s, which was also excavations and maintaining project. So the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage started excavating and working in May 1969. And the actual work started in, mid-May actually, 10th of May 1969, yeah. Um, so they started from the northwestern face of the ziggurat, and near the surface, and on depth of 50 to 60 centimeter, we found modern Islamic graves belonging to the village's inhabitants. So, and that could be somehow confusing maybe for the uh, foreigner archaeologists who work in Mesopotamia, because from Baghdad and toward the north, people actually used archaeological site as a graveyard. Um, it's complicated, but I think I thought in the beginning, I thought this started like during the wartime and during the local conflicts time, because people in this like nomadic area or like outer city center area, they couldn't reach the city center or they couldn't reach the cemeteries during the war or during the conflict. So when they have someone uh, died, they just bury it to the closest area. And most of our sites is on the outer city center. So they used this archaeological site because like it's a higher ground than the rest. So it won't be covered by rain, it won't be stepped on or whatever. So they used the archaeological site or the archaeological hills as cemeteries or as a graveyard. And yeah, it's like I saw that a lot in Abu Ghraib and Samara also during the survey, and Babylon a bit. As I said, it starts from the central Iraq more to the north. We don't have that in the south. So I thought this started in the wartime because people couldn't reach hospitals, people couldn't reach cemeteries. But actually, seeing that this also was discovered in the 60s explains that the people, I don't know, people were very lazy to go to cemeteries. So and at a depth of 50s and 60s, the 60 centimeter, they found the modern Islamic grave belonging to the village's inhabitants. So it was not ancient; it was just from the village inhabitants. The grave were built with the zecchart brick. They actually built the grave and they took the mud brick uh, or the baked brick from the zecchars. And we found in each grave about 16 to 20 square bricks. So you can divide, like you can calculate that. Like, I don't know, you have under the grave, each one of them has 200 bricks. So actually, they just looted the whole secret. The most important thing that we didn't find any archaeological artifact remains with the grave, which is logical because these are modern Islamic graves. And many people try to do some maintaining and preservations project. Trying to explain it here, but in my thesis, it's a bit explained. There are some failed archaeological and there are some successful ones. And there are some archaeological projects that just established to fix the mistake that happened in the previous archaeological project. So as I said, in this chapter, I explained the failed maintaining and the successful one. And there are also a lot of details mentioned about how they made the mother brick, and so very useful for us to use in the modern days because it explained a lot about the percentage of the material that they use, like the salt, the hay, the soil, the water. And yeah, during that time, they built this big oven, so the baked bricks. And these are some examples of like the field uh, and renovations projects regarding the correct wall. This is the water there and how to fix it. And these are just some shots from the maintained project that took place there. In chapter 3, we will talk about two sites that actually no one knows anything about. Al-Ahmar and Tel Mound 1. So these are, as you can see, so this is Al-Ahmar, the end of the city, and this is Tel Mound 1. Uh, two sites, two sites have been excavated also by the Iraqis. I think it took a place in the 70s, like 978. And the main reason, I believe, I'm not mistaken, it was because of either agriculture or some, I don't know, residential project or factory building there. So it was an emergence excavations there because that's like too small size. But you can see in the drone images that you have the plans, but we didn't know anything about that. Like we had the plans, we had the drone images, and when we checked the images, we were confused. What are these? Apparently, there was some excavations there. But well, what happened? We didn't know anything about. We don't know anything about. No one said anything. So that's when the third task started for me is to dig for the excavations report that had been written in the 70s in Tel Ahmar and Tel Maus 1. And we will talk briefly about what we have discovered there. First, we will talk about Tel Ahmar. Tel Ahmar is approximately 300 meters long from the east to the west and about 130 meters wide from the north to the south. Not very big. The highest point of the tell is about 3 meters above the surrounding land. Its surface is scattered with enormous pottery fragments, which is normal, most of which date back to the Kassite period, with some of later to the Islamic period. So the work began in Tal Ahmar, and the site or the tell was divided into 10 by 10 meter square. After cleaning the highest point of the hill, several walls were discovered close to the surface. By following these walls, a series of room or residential units were uncovered with the dimension of thickness, different dimensions of thickness. Some measured 1 meter wide and some measured 1.20. Built from squared mother brick, of course, measured 36 by 36 by 10. The excavation revealed the two courtyards, one to the north and one to the south, surrounded by room, okay, of course. The northern courtyard, remaining southern walls, measured about 9 to 11 meters, while the eastern wall is 10 by 10 meter point 5 long. The northern wall extending from the northeast corner is about 5 meters long before turning and 5.5 meters. The western wall remaining section is 8 meters long with nearby mother bricks mass likely falling from the wall. We cannot talk about all the details because it's in the seasons, but in the presentation will take a lot. The second site is Mound 1, which is also been discovered in the 70s and no one knew anything about it. So Mound 1 is of some approximately 1 kilometer to the southeast to the mound. The team opened a new excavations point on a small hill where a breach was observed on its south slope, possibly to the construction of the farm. The mound was named Mound 1. After scraping the surface of the mound, a series of walls appeared, which, upon investigations, were found to be part of a large structure, possibly a palace. The building is square shaped, with its corner lined with the four continental coordinations. 18 rooms were discovered and had been identified in this site, most of which were covered with thick layer of plaster, which is also normal. Almost all the wall, all the mother brick wall were covered with the plaster in sites in Mesopotamia. The plaster was more than 2 centimeters thick. Some of these rooms are large and rectangular, while others are square or smaller. The pattern of the rectangular and transit room extend along three sides of the palace. So, two sides, as we said, Tel Ahmar, Tel Mount 1, excavated in the 70s. We didn't know anything about. Now we know, thanks to the archive that have been translated. The artifacts were found during these excavations and this short season of excavations in Tel Ahmar and Tel Mount 1, group of pottery, calcite pottery, which is normal, fragment of tablets, several clay figures, and two seals impressions, number of beads in different shaped, and some broken copper tools. So, which is this is not very surprising, since one of the sites could be like a palace area, and the second big residential area. So normal, you will find graves, you will find clay tablets, you will find I don't know, clay figures, and also beads and everything. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is Abu Shijar site. So Abu Shijar site, as we explained, is a very, very important site. Have been excavated in the 90s. Very, very important site, but there are barely some publication about it. So as I said, what we know about Abu Shijar is less than 20%. As you can see, so this is the actually the actual size of Abu Shijar, and that picture was taken, that's a satellite image actually, taken in 2002, and this is in 2024. So half of the site is gone, thanks to the farmers. Abu Shijar is on the west of Tel Abyad. This is Tel Abyad. This is Abu Shijar. This is the Zekert and the Tafal area. So the site had been excavated in the 90s by the Iraqis. 1 kilometer to the west of the well-known Zekeret and the main one is Dur-Kurigalzu. We have Abu Shijar site. Tel Abu Shijar was surveyed and found to have roughly rounded shape with a diameter of nearly 300 meter and an elevation of 6 meters. Only the central part of the mound, measuring approximately 120 by 50 meters, remains undisturbed. This is the only undisturbed part. So more information is provided and details view of the areas excavated during the 3 seasons that will be discussed, revealing Parthian, Sasanian remains as well as significant late Kassite period. Why did they excavate it, Abu Shijar? The excavations were mainly to rescue the site. So in 1992, the investigation of Tel Abu Shijar was intended by the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage due to construction activities and other disturbance that posed threat to the site. The initial excavation season focused primarily on the central part of the mound and followed in the 993 and in 2001, with a brief resumption in 2006. Dr. Al-Tawil, who excavated the site, also collaborated with the Iraqi archaeologists to aid the interpretation of the archaeological data and to preparation of the publication, despite the loss of the original items and record during the looting of the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage in 2003. So they had a massive amount of data uh, about the Abu. The problem is had been looted. That was why, well, like, it's a big site, a very important site. Had been excavated. We didn't know anything about it, and we didn't know that much. Why? So most of the data had been looted in 2003 from the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage Department in April 2003. Significant finding, and much of the archaeological report in Arabic have been looted. Some of them have been preserved. The Arabic report that we still have in the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage, uh, they served as as the foundations for the future project, which we'll highlight now. What we have from the report now, we know that when they excavated in Abu Shijar, they had two or three levels, I think, yeah, two levels. Had two levels. So they excavated the site. They had two level one, which was primarily situated near the surface, logically, and did not contain any architectural elements. Four graves were discovered in connection with level one. This level was categorized as Parthian based on its dating. However, certain pottery types associated with this level have also been found in contexts from the Sasanian period. So this level was partly Parthian, partly Sasanian. In details, yeah, exactly. That's about level one. Level two, which is the lower one. The level two was reviewed during the main excavations. Architectural remains from this level were identified across all the excavations sites, consist of two separated construction phases, A and B, the upper and the lower, both traceable to the Kassite period. So the first level was most closest to the surface level, and which was Parthian and Sasanian, like Parthian and then Sasanian. And the second level was mostly or in general class site, which was the lower one. It has two phases, A and B. The sequels that have been chosen to be in this, I didn't have the picture here, but they had two like sequels also on the side were excavated in the 2000. What we have when what we discovered in Abu Shijar also from like materials wise. Most of them were, as I said, Parthian and Sasanian or Kassite. The artifacts were found there. The team discovered an amount of valuable archaeological findings were uncovered in courtyard number 5. These findings primarily consist of a variety of pottery pieces such as pots and jars and various sizes. Among the pottery discovered, the particular remarkable artifact was large pot distinguished by its open mouth, conical body, and its hollowed out lobe base near the entrance. So one of the significant uh, founds that have been discovered there is this big pot that had been, as you can see, this is the founding area, the entrance, and this is the documentation area, which is also it's also very similar to workout pot. Sample the live. So that's one of the most important findings there. Clay tablets also, we have clay tablets have been discovered in Abu Shijar. Several clay figures were also discovered during the archaeological excavations, some of which were found in temples in complete states, while others were harmed or broken. So, and also the third or the one of the most amazing discoveries also, it's the woman mask from Abu Shijar. This is a woman mask from Abu Shijar, which was discovered also during the excavation. So the mission discovered a woman mask made of glazed faced material during the excavation in Tel Abu Shijar, which is considered one of the most amazing and precious finding. The mask hollow inside, so it's like frame and molded with dimension of height 5.4 centimeter and width 4 centimeter. So the explanations for the woman faces the nose and the mouth as a possibly due to like they are gone, possibly due to casting process. The mask is drawn with blue substance, possibly pigments or lapis lazuli, like it's painted. And the eyebrows are colored with black marks that are still visible. So this is the Abu Shija woman face. We'll talk about this in a minute. And also there are three small holes in each ear, as you can see here. There are three holes in each ear, some possibly for earrings. The form of the mask emphasize the importance of the person it's present. It can be compared to the similar model found in Tel Rahma. This is the model that been discovered by Tel Rahma, al-Hadidi, such as the mask of Aqar Quf. This mask, along with the Aqar Quf mask, shares several common characteristics, with the most significant being their close date of origins. The general shape of both masks exhibits enormous similarities, including the colors and the shape and the size. And it's possible that they may represent the goddess of Ashtar. It's not certain. After finishing the chapter 4 of talking about the Abu Shita excavations, history and excavation results, chapter 5 would be about the archaeological part, which is not very impressive or important, but the archaeological park of Aqar Quf uh, was established also, I think, either in the 70s or in the 80s, but I'm not pretty sure. But it was a decision to switch or turn the site from an archaeological site to an archaeological park where people can actually visit and see what had been done there. What is this? Why is it so important? Why need to preserve it? So these are samples of the temple area that have been rebuilt to be as like an area where people can actually go through the temple, similar to Babylon. And the park actually it's big, like it contained first of all, like it contained two governmental institutions, which is the police station, the small police station for the city, political city of Aqar Quf, and also the state board of antiquities and heritage of Dur-Kurigalzu. And along with that, they have their restaurant. I attached the plan here for. It's not very understandable, but this is the plan for the restaurant. They also have the museum, which is this is in like vertical view of the plan of the museum. So you can see it has three halls. This is hall number one, hall number two, hall number three, and it has two entrances. That is the Museum of Aqar Quf, which is also attached to the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage in Aqar Quf. Everything that had been done in Dur-Kurigalzu as an archaeological park is actually in this small area. This is the whole city. That's when everything is happening. So after building that archaeological park, which was a very successful project, uh, everyone was happy about it. Unfortunately, as usual, we had another war and everything got abandoned. And then we had a local conflict, everything was destroyed. And now we are trying to rebuild the archaeological park and also re-excavate the old excavations point to bring this site back to what it belongs, like academically, scientifically, and also like as a tourist destination, which I think will be very, very successful tourist destination site. Until then, now we are working. We have like a five 5 year project, I think, or 3 year project with Bologna University and the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage in Iraq. Started last year and was still going. Actually, we just finished 2 or 3 weeks ago. We finished the small maintaining project and also on the Dur-Kurigalzu was part of the uh, temple uh, roofs and also walls were uh, collapsed due to water effect and rain for years and lack of attention actually. So we are fixing this like small fixing, me and my colleague Serafino, also from Bologna University, supervised by Professor Marchetti, until we excavate again in September 2025. Let's hope in the upcoming years this will be back as a very, very important archaeological site. So confirm this is briefly about what actually we had from this whole excavation from the 40s and now uh, cuneiform tablets, which is normal, administrative record, religious, and royal. So it's like similar to any other archaeological site in Iraq. Not all of them, but most of them are very important. We have uniform tablets. We have pottery material. These are from Abu Shija. These are from Tel Aviv. These are from Tel Aviv. Clay figure, metal work. A lot of a lot of material, clay material, and metal material that would be explained and talk about, but it's impossible to do that through one presentation. So, as you can see, these are samples of the artifact and the material that were discovered during the excavation in the whole city of Dur-Kurigalzu. What do we need for this city? What do we need for this site? How should we protect it? So, as you can see, the site has been that is a very, very big site, and actually the modern residential area is pretty attached to it. The main fence that have been built around the city. It's as like this picture, it's partly destroyed. People can get into the site illegally and go out from different parts and like stuff very opposite. So these are the challenges for the future for the archaeological park of archaeological site of Aqar Quf. We need to be preserved and we need to be secured. Digital documentation also is needed since we don't know if the site will stay or not, since we uh, like some of site that we just removed, like we just go there and you can see the site has been removed and there's a farm. Another problem we faced, or the archaeological community faced, is like the lack of resources about the mid-Babylonian period, for the mid-Babylonian capital, and that's why I wrote this thesis. We needed to focus more and about the history of the mid-Babylonian period, the Classic period. And I think also uh, like one of the reasons that like we have limited resources just because this report that I have right now, not everyone can get an access for. I mean I would help anyone who would like to do it, but that's the problem. Also for me, and I'm an employee at the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage. It was also very, very complicated for me to get an access to the archive department, to the photograph department to get all this report. I mean, now my job is to translate it and to make it an open access for everyone else. But that's also one of the reasons that we don't have any information about the Babylonian period excavation. So through this whole presentation, what do we know now from this report? We know everything about the Ahmar excavations. We know also everything about the Mount 1 excavation. Abu Shijar excavation, the Zikrat maintenance work, which, as I said, was most of it was some of it was failed and some of it was success. The archaeological park work and the East Temple area was in front of this. At the end, as I said, these are four samples of the report that I managed to get access to from the 60s, I would say. Yeah, 55. So yeah, they are like mixed, but this is actually what you have to deal with. These are, as I said, these are written, handwritten report on site and have been preserved for more than 60, 70 years. And they are not very well preserved and not very well uh, like you've written. So it's not printed report. And you need to check this and you need to try to read it to understand it and then to translate it and then to make it public. So these are samples from the report that I have and I translated. And yeah, now at least now we know something about the Dur-Kurigalzu. And I think by that, yeah, that was it. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope I was not annoying and I hope everything was clear somehow. And I hope you enjoyed it somehow. Thank you. Now I'll leave the floor to my host.